Good afternoon, everyone. We're getting started. I'm getting ready to share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, here we go. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? My name is Tasha Mason. And if you don't mind, why don't you put in the chat area where you're calling or where you're calling in and zooming in from, and as well as on Facebook too. All right, it is 12 o'clock. So good afternoon. My name is Tasha Mason. I am the author of A Child's Journey Through Grief series. I thank everyone for joining me this afternoon as we talk a little bit about grief, as well as talk about the inspiration behind A Child's Journey Through Grief, as well as give some updates and a few giveaways. All right, we have Dallas, we have New Jersey, we have Toronto. Welcome, welcome. As I said, my name is Tasha Mason, and who am I? So we're going to talk about, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I live currently in San Antonio. I'm a 16-year Army veteran. I currently work as a portfolio management specialist. I work in with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. But before I did that for a few years, and then I went to work as a social worker at the VA for a little bit, working with veterans. And then I came back over to HUD to continue to work with people in public housing. I used to volunteer at a group counseling center for children that were experiencing grief. I was a group facilitator, and now I currently work with an organization online that helps adults dealing with grief. And I am a children's book author. And I also work with a mental wellness company that provides amazing products for the mind and body. I love spending time with my family, friends. They're both human and furry. I do have a fur baby, Bella, who is also in the books that we're going to discuss later. As well as I love to travel. I love listening to music, learning, writing, reading, and trying new things. And today is my birthday. So I decided to do this, this live cast on my birthday. So let's talk about grief, all right? So what exactly is grief? Basically, it's anguished experience after a significant loss. Now, people tend to grieve over various things, but today we're going to talk about grief when it comes to child grief, when it comes to death. And death is not easy for anyone. You know, when you're losing someone that you love, someone that you've known, used to seeing on a regular basis, and now they're no longer here. And that grief can become overpowering as an adult, and especially for a kid. So common reactions to grief includes fear, regression, overachieving, displays of power, guilt, anger, separation anxiety, confusion, obsession dwelling on the past, apprehension of the future, and sorrow. And maybe some of you have experienced this. I know I have when I dealt with the death of my father when I was a kid. And, you know, sometimes you may not have experienced all of these things, but some of these things may resonate with you. And I tell people this all the time. There is no timeline when it comes to grief. You may hear some people say, well, it's been a year, it's been 5 years, it's been 20 years. It's been so long. But the thing is that, you know, you don't stop loving that person. You don't stop thinking about that person. What you're trying to do is trying to form a new norm without them, in addition to not forgetting them, right? So, sometimes people think they're helping when they say you should get over it. But the thing is, when it comes to grief, you never do get over it.
Into minerals. This is a $10,000 Nourishing Moments giveaway.
Oh, I'm sorry. If someone has their mic on, can you please mute it? Thank you.
Let's
see here. So if I can
eliminating the
mute
source
here.
of nasty odors.
Hang on just a second, y'all.
Black psoriasis symptoms define
Emerge as you. With Phenibia, most people saw
Someone has the TV on?
4 months, and the majority stay
Okay,
clear
we'll
for
keep
5
going.
years.
Sorry, you all. Let me see if I can mute. Okay, thank you. So what are some positive coping skills? Now, granted, even though I wrote this as a children's book, but anyone that's dealing with grief, you can, if you haven't learned things, or maybe you have, maybe this will just be reiterated. So being honest with answering questions about death, that's very important, because you want to use the words death, dying, and dead, and not words like they've gone to sleep or they've gone on. You want to be as clear and honest as possible, as well as being age appropriate. Reassurance, validation, and listening. Validating the child's feelings about what they're feeling. And sometimes they don't know how to articulate. And sometimes it's best just to reassure them, hey, what you're feeling, it is normal. It is okay to feel this way. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be sad. And then just listening to them. And I know as a kid, I had a problem with expressing myself, and my mom was helping me through that. Continue emotional support and encouragement. This is definitely a must, because depending on when the death occurred and where that child is, it depends on whether they were very young, whether they were early childhood, adolescent, young adulthood. It happens in various stages. And then they're dealing with that grief all over again, because they're in a different part of their life. So as you're growing, so as me, I was 9 years old when it happened, and when my dad died. And then as a teenager, I'm in a different milestone. So now I'm experiencing that grief in a different way as a teenager, and as well as a young adult and into my adulthood. Individual therapy is very important. It's very important to find the right therapist that can help the child process what they're going through. And especially if you are a parent or caregiver or someone that's looking after this child and you're going through grief yourself, individual therapy is very important as well to help you work through some things. Family therapy, of course, is always important as well, because you're coming together as a family, but also support groups. As I said before, I volunteered at a grief counseling center for children, and to see having children in their own age range that are experiencing the same thing they're experiencing, even though it may be different types of deaths, but the thing is their person is no longer there. So now they're being able to identify with someone else that feels the same way that they do. Equine assistant therapy. Working with animals, riding horses. I know I did as a kid. I didn't realize that's what it was, but it definitely helped me during my time of grief. Books about grief, reading about grief, age-appropriate books. There are different types of books for children in various ages. And, you want to make sure you present information to where they can understand. And then as they get older, you can talk about it and, in a little bit more detail if need be. Journaling. Journaling is very important. Now, when I was younger, I did not care about journaling. But as I've gotten older, I realized the significance of writing out your feelings. And it doesn't have to be in any particular format. It's just, even if it's just a word or a few words of just expressing yourself is always important. Drawing. I felt this was helpful too, because I used to draw as a kid. Drawing what you feel, or just drawing whatever, even if you're copying something that you see on a magazine. I remember as a kid, I used to draw different images that I would see, and that would give me some type of sense of calm, and made me feel a little bit more peaceful when I was doing that. Creating a photo album. I know we're in the digital age, and yes, there are digital photo albums, but something is about having a book where you can put pictures in, maybe cut them in a interesting shapes, or adding stickers or different things like that, and use that as a family project to put together, as well as your, sharing stories and sharing about that person as well. Sharing, like I said, sharing stories is important as well, because that child doesn't want to forget that person. And even though there are times it may be painful to talk about them, you want to be able to have that door open to where you can share maybe something funny that they did, or something they used to say that was comforting. And looking at photos and videos and anything that can help. You're creating a new norm, but also not forgetting the person that died. So when we look at fostering emotional resilience in children, you're looking at the process of handling stress and recovering from trauma or adversity. So how does that look? I read an article with the American Psychological Association, Resilience Guide for Parents and Teachers. And even though it was talking about as far as dealing with bullies, dealing with different types of stresses, I thought this was very helpful when it came to helping children that are dealing with death. Making connections, like in the support groups, connecting with other children that are experiencing those same things. And if you're an adult that you're experiencing grief, connecting with other people that are experiencing those same things. Because sometimes if you have someone that hasn't experienced a death or the death of a loved one, they will not understand exactly what you're going through and the emotions that you're going through. Helping others, maybe finding ways to volunteer, to help others in different ways, whether it's working, volunteering at a food pantry, or maybe just sitting and talking with people. Maintaining a daily routine. So your routine has changed now that that person is no longer there. So now trying to form a new routine and trying to stay consistent with as best as possible. Sometimes you have people that don't feel like making their bed. And if you're in that state and you don't feel like making your bed, maybe one of the things that you can work on going towards is, okay, for the next few days, I'm going to make my bed. For the next few days, I'm going to do this. So building your daily routine and trying to maintain it as best as you can as you're going through the grieving process. Take a break. Whether it's 5 or 10 minutes, whether you need to be by yourself or maybe be around other people, taking a break is always helpful. Self-care, and that can mean so many things to different people, whether it's going to the spa, whether it's just going to go walk, or maybe just sitting in a room, being by yourself, reading a book or listening to music, or even watching TV. Nurture a positive self-view. Sometimes when people are experiencing grief, and even children, there's a sense of guilt, of feeling like, well, maybe if I said I love you more, maybe if they didn't leave that day, they would still be here. Working towards, that talking to yourself in a positive way, that you are a good person and no, it wasn't your fault. And even though that is a challenge in the beginning, slowly work yourself up to that. And keeping things in perspective and maintain a hopeful outlook. That is very challenging when it comes to dealing with grief, because all you're thinking about is the fact that that person no longer there. Like I said before, you used to seeing them on a regular basis. It's hard to see something in being optimistic when you're struggling through the grief. Opportunities for self-discovery. And this is a way to try new things, even if it's just the fact of maybe if you never gone walking before, maybe that'll be a way for you to help process your grief, because you're, walking by yourself or maybe with a group. So, different things like that, trying new things can help. And accepting change. Accepting the fact that this person is no longer here and trying to move forward is a hard challenge to do. And it's a process. It's some people say take it day by day. I say take it moment by moment, because you never know. One moment, things may seem like it's going great, and then something may happen and you feel like the whole world just fell on you. So when it comes to reading books, this is why I created a Child's Journey Through Grief series to help families that are struggling with grief. And you all are the first to see the front cover of the third book, Let's Celebrate. So the first book, but I Don't Want to Say Goodbye, was created and published in 2020. And the book is, keep in mind, this whole series is in the words of the little girl. So you're seeing you're hearing from her words how she's feeling and the fact that she's not ready to say goodbye to her father. So she's processing her grief over the death of her father while her mom is, coordinating a non-traditional funeral. So what I mean by non-traditional funeral, some people go to funerals where they're looking at their loved ones in a casket. Some prefer cremation and everything. This particular non-traditional funeral deals with a reef ball, and I have a small replica of what that looks like. And that's this right here. And what it is the loved one's cremated ashes with eco-friendly concrete, and it's mixed with this concrete to make is for the coral reef in the water. So when they make this this reef ball, and it's huge, the actual size of it, it's lowered in the water by crane, and it creates a home for the sea animals. I thought it was a great idea when I first heard about it. And I reached out to the organization in Florida that does it. It's called Eternal Reefs. And I asked them if I can use their if I can use their process in the book, and they were excited about it. So and I got to go to Galveston, Texas, and see how they actually did this. And so I thought it was so interesting. I put it in the book to not only talk about the feelings that this little girl is going through, but also to show another way of memorializing the loved one. So after I wrote the first book, I thought about it. I said, well, there's a lot of books about death, but we don't go as far as what happens after the funeral. So then I thought about, well, what does happen at the funeral? How did I feel after the funeral? People offer their condolences and wish you well. And then, some people, then you no longer hear from them. So then what happens? So the next book, It's Okay to Be Happy, is about the little girl still going through her process of grief, but also you see her in a support group, her riding horses, you see her sharing stories about her dad with family members, and as well as creating photo album. But you're still hearing it from her, but you're seeing her going through this process. And then the third book, Let's Celebrate, actually talks about moving forward and being able to celebrate events, holidays, without that person being there. So you're getting to see the little girl as she's moving forward, but she's still feeling sad. So even though there are moments where she's, okay, it seems like things are going good, but then she thinks about, well, daddy used to do this and daddy used to do that. He used to take me to school. He used to do this. So you're seeing the series come together as seeing her being able to process this. And my hope is that with families that read these stories, they're able to share a little bit more about their loved one and to be able to have a healthy discussion about death, and as well as dealing with the grief along with it. And the release date for book 3 is November 1st. And I did that because November, if you didn't know, is Child Grief Awareness Month. The second book, It's Okay to Be Happy, I also released it in November of 2021. I did that because, like I said, it's Child Grief Awareness Month. I thought it was befitting because of the fact that we're dealing with child grief in these books. Pre-orders will begin in September. And I will, put the information out there on social media when that time comes and everything. And I want to talk about the inspiration behind the book. Okay, as I said before, my dad died when I was 9 years old. It affected me throughout my childhood, adolescence, and into adulthood. It affected my relationship with people. When I was a kid, I was concerned about what would happen to my mom and my sisters. I was concerned about not bringing anybody else in and being friends with anybody because I was afraid that I'll lose them. And even though I made friends along the way. My circle was very small and very tight, and I was very apprehensive of sharing my feelings. My mom would talk to me about trying to share my feelings, and I would just get so upset that I would cry because I didn't want to feel hurt. I didn't want to go through that pain all over again. And as a young adult, through adolescence and young adult, I was one of those people that like to stay busy. So the more I stayed busy, the less I had to think about it. And it didn't really help much because, like I said, it affected how I dealt with relationships. And it wasn't until a few years ago, I decided to go to therapy and really start working on myself and working through this grief, because my dad died on December 12th, 1986. I didn't want to celebrate Christmas after that. You know, I would smile and act like everything's okay, but inside it was really hurting. It wasn't until, like I said, a few years ago, working through therapy, I was able to start liking Christmas again because my dad enjoyed Christmas. As a kid, I rode horses. That helped me during my time. And like I said, there are some moments where I'm laughing and having a good time, and there are some moments I'm mad and some moments I'm sad. So when it comes to children that are going through this, their emotions changes a lot, just like with us as adults. So, you know, being mindful of, you know, the child that's grieving, and also being mindful of yourself if you're going through the grief process as well. So as far as when it comes to the books, I wanted to write a book to help children and their families. And, you know, being able to, I didn't know how to write a book. Initially, I wasn't a writer. You know, I went through school, learned different things. I never had any aspirations of being a writer, but it was placed on my heart to write about this series. And I'm gonna tell you, working with Tanya Colton Colley, who is the illustrator of these books, has been a phenomenal experience, because working with Tanya has been awesome. She is an awesome graphics designer, and she had never illustrated a book until I came to her. And she graduated with my sister, and my mom suggested her. And after talking to her and her reading the story, she jumped on board, and it's just been an amazing experience. Tanya has definitely been an integral part of all of this, because with my words and her illustrations, it really brought a lot to life. And I've heard people say that it really helped them going through their grief. And then, like I said before, it was just going to be one book, and then I ended up turning it into a series. So I'm very grateful for her being able to take the time and to illustrate and bring to life the words. So here's a journey through this series, as you can see, starting out with the sketches that Tanya initially did, which has been awesome. Here's a picture of my family, my mom, my sister, my grandmother. I'm holding the book. And I've been on different book tours. I've been in Dallas, Chicago, Tulsa, Philadelphia, Houston, and Harlem, and meeting different people and talking to people about grief, and, you know, learning about various people's experiences. And here's a picture of Galveston, Texas, where I went, where Eternal Reefs organization actually had a spot where, you know, families came to do the reef ball. And then it's a 4-day process. And on that 4th day, they go out on a ship and they lower the crane into the water, which I thought was phenomenal. And then if you ever wanted to visit that reef, they give you the coordinates. So if you're a diver, you can go down and see the reef ball in along the coral reef and everything. And it's not just in Galveston. Their original office is in Florida, and they have places along the coastline. So I thought it was very exciting, and this has been an interesting journey going on here. So there are some book fairs that I'm going on in the fall. The Black Child Book Fair, which is hosted by Daryl Harvey. He gets together a lot of phenomenal African-American children book authors, and we go around to different cities and set up, and then we get to meet the families, the kids, the teachers, counselors. And so I'll be in London, England, October 14th at the Beacon High School, in Atlanta, Georgia, November 4th at Scott Elementary School. in Dallas, Texas, December 9th. The location is to be determined on that. So I'm real excited about sharing the books. And even though the third book is coming out in November, I look forward to everyone getting the full series and being able to share their thoughts with me on it. So I have some merchandise here that is going to be coming along with the books. I had this woman named Anita in Australia, and she made these beautiful dolls. She hand knitted them, and I thought it was a great job of her knitting them. And they're on my online bookstore. And the books are also available on Amazon as well. So you can go to Amazon, or you can go to Bell Shea House online store to get the books, the dolls. I also make designer bookmarks if you like to get those. I'm also coming soon is going to be some journals that I make for kids. They're going to be journals and along with a little bit of activities in there. So we're working on that as well. And t-shirts and drawstring bags are coming soon. So I'm excited about all of this. So I'm looking for a book launch team. If you're interested, I'm looking for about 40 people to spread the word about the third book. And as well as reintroducing the series as a whole, since the other two books have been out for a while. So anyone that's interested, you'll receive a free ebook, a free hardcover book, and a t-shirt. And then I ask that you post on social media for your review of the book, and there's going to be more details to come. So the book launch will actually start in August. We'll start launching it and kind of moving forward with it. But if you're interested, you can email me at tashay@bellshayehousebks.com. And now for some giveaways. And let's see here. So for those that are interested in some giveaways, which, you can't go wrong with a giveaway, right? So I am giving away both books. The first one, and this is the original cover. I ended up changing the cover to the first book and the second book and doll. So I'm going to be doing a couple of giveaways. So for those that are interested, I want to know, there's a couple of questions that I'm going to ask. And the first one that I see on here that answers, you will get, like I said, you will get a free autograph books, as well as a free doll. So yes, absolutely. Let me put my email in the chat right here. There you go. Okay. So first question is, and this is a simple one. So I just want to see if you all been listening. So even though today I released the information about the third book, why is today also another special day? Why is it also special? Yes, Ashley. Yes, it's my birthday.
Too late.
Ashley, congratulations. So do me a favor, send me an email so I can make sure I get that information to you, so I can get your mailing address and sell that to you and send that to you. Okay. All right. Second question. When will the third book be released? November 1st, LJ, thank you, congratulations. Make sure you send me an email so I can email you the two books and the doll as well. All right, for the final question. Where are my books located for sale? You have to tell me both places. Okay, LJ, you got it, but you can't. You already got one. You can't do it again. So the next person that can put in both, if I see it, you get that final prize.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yes, Caitlin. Caitlin. All right. So Caitlin, email me and so I can get your mailing address and I'll make sure I send that to you.
on Facebook.
So here are my social media sites and online stores. So if you want to follow me, I have two Facebook pages. I have my author page, Tasha Mason author, and then I have my personal page, which is Shay Mason. I kind of been off and on posting stuff on both on my author page, but I'll be posting a lot more. And also on Instagram, Belshay_house, which is my author page, and then Tasha_Mason. I also have my YouTube page, Belshay House, and then my website, www.tashamason.com, which there'll be information about the book if you want to read more about this. Absolutely, Muriel. If you would like for me to send you copies, if you want me to send you these slides, send me an email and I'll be more than happy to send it to you, okay? So yeah, and also my online store is Belshay House, but you can also order through TashaMason.com.
Oh yeah, Belshay. Oh God.
So also to contact me, best way to contact me is my email address. You can send me DMs as well. I am available for author visits in person and online. If you have a school, you want me to come to the school, come to the library, counseling center, you know, I'll be more than happy to do that. And as a matter of fact, the first two books are in some of the counseling centers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as Houston and Chicago. So I was able to, these books are being used as resources, which I'm very grateful for. So if you're looking to order books over 20 and you're trying to go through my website, send me an email, because right now I'm in between trying to find another local publisher, but you can order them on Amazon, as I said, so they'll be available on there as well. Now I have a few orders, I have a few dolls left, so I will be placing an order for some more dolls this Friday and everything. And like I said, if you want to reach out to me at Tasha@BelshayHouseBKS.com. And some of the resources. So if you have a child that's dealing with grief, first I would say check out, you know, local support groups and see if you have them. If you don't, go to the National Alliance for Children's Grief, and that's www.nacg.org. It's a great organization. It has a lot of information and resources nationally about child grief. And then if you are interested in learning more about the reef balls, Eternal Reefs, www.eternalreefs.com shows you information about that, what you need to do if you're interested in memorializing your loved one. I'm going to stop the slideshow here, and I'm going to look and see if any of you all have any questions, if you have any comments, maybe if you read the book and maybe read the books and maybe want to, you know, share your experience with it. So let me know, you know, if you have any questions. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. And don't forget, if you do want to have a copy of the slides, I will definitely email them to you. And also, I didn't say, if you are someone that's experiencing grief yourself, if you're an adult, go to healgrief.org. It's a wonderful organization. They have different types of support groups for people, for adults that are struggling with grief, regardless of who that person is. Check them out. They also have one-on-one grief coaching as well. Okay. Well, I don't see anyone with any questions. And if some questions come up later, you know, like I said, send me an email. And I thank you all for your time. Thank you. And for anyone that is struggling with grief, please understand that there is no timeline on it. Just try to do your best each day. Take it moment by moment. and, you know, and look for, if you have people to go to talk to, please, you know, use them. And if you don't, check out these various resources. Do I know of any camps in Arkansas for youth experienced grief? No, I do not, LJ. You might want to check out the National Alliance for Children Grief, that website I was talking about. They may have that on there. Specifically work with international children of color. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But that is a good question. I definitely will look and see what I can find out. And if you find out anything, please shoot me an email and let me know. I'm always up for learning of different places and stuff. But again, if you are struggling, or your child is struggling, or you know someone that is, you know, please take this time and have grace with yourself. Take time and know that this is a process. It sucks, but it's a process, and you can work through it. Thank you much for your time, and you have a wonderful afternoon.